Hello and welcome to AFC Game by Game. We're still here at the Old Highbury along with Danny once again, and in this segment we're going to be talking about Arsenal's injuries and quite how much they could impact our season. Not the best of starts really in terms of injuries. Thomas Rosicky ruled out before the start. Welbeck hasn't even come over his injury, been gone in for surgery. Jack Wilshere, we've been told today, out for another month after already having a month out. I mean, it's not the greatest of starts on the injury front.
Do you know what? That's the first time I've heard about the Wilshere one.
I'm sorry to break it to you.
It's not the best thing, and at the same time, it goes back to what we say. I mean, people go, the current team that we have, injury-free, can win the league. But not just Arsenal, it's common sense. Every team is going to get injuries at the end of the day. Unfortunately, with Arsenal, we get it with key players for key periods of time. I think last year Chelsea had players out injured, but
I mean, when you say key players, would you regard Wilshere, Welbeck, and Rosicky as key players? The only one out of those three that I would say is a key, I would say Wilshere, because he's like that difference maker that we spoke about in the previous video, where we said we're lacking that cutting edge. Because he's the one that, you know, when we are a goal down, he's the one that's going to keep striving to get the goal.
I think the one that really does it. I mean, perhaps not these three, but chances are as the season goes on, you never know. Alexis or Ozil. One of those, or Koscielny even, it could happen to anyone.
Well, Koscielny missed the game the other day.
Yeah, exactly. So you never know really. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to go a year injury free. But saying that, look at Courtois today with Chelsea, two months out I think it is. So it does happen to everyone, but it's how you are. It's if you're good enough to replace those players. Unfortunately, due to our, Gary Neville called it stubbornness or naivety in the transfer market, I don't think we have the squad in depth to replace those players, where the likes of Man City do, unfortunately.
I mean, you say if someone like Ozil was to get injured, let's take that as an example. If Ozil was to get injured, what would you do in that scenario if you were a manager?
Well, do you know what? And a lot of my close friends will quote me on this. I've never been Ozil's biggest fan. However, being at the away end at Newcastle, you're right up in the gods. And I looked at the whole game and I thought, because you can see it really clearly, we lack so much creativity. I don't know what I'd do if Ozil got injured, because it really does affect how we play. Don't get me wrong, you've got the likes of Ramsey, who hasn't really been on form now for a good year.
Good game at Newcastle, I think.
Yeah, I think he was a bit hit and miss at times.
He had a good second half.
Yeah, good second half. But I think we have the players to replace them.
But they're not good enough.
Yeah, it's just that it's not that little bit extra. Look, as I said, it's good enough for third or fourth, but not for winning the league or the European Cup, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, you touched on Ramsey. Let's talk about him for a second, because we've got no Wilshere, so Ramsey's kind of nailed down in that spot. Also Cazorla as well.
Yeah.
Who would you rather see start in the upcoming games? I mean, we've got Chelsea coming up, we've got United coming up.
I'd rather see Ramsey start against Chelsea and Cazorla against Spurs.
Do you think it's about adapting our lineup then? Because what you notice with Arsenal is, and especially towards the back end of last season when we won about 10 on the trot, we didn't change our lineup.
No, sometimes the old saying, don't fix something that isn't broken.
But what I will say with that is Ramsey on the right. That's where he played in those games. Do you think that's something he should continue to do?
No, I don't think. I don't like him out of the right. I think the problem is we've got too many number 10s, whom Wenger doesn't want to drop any, because there's three world-class number 10s in Cazorla, Ozil and Ramsey. He doesn't want to drop any, so he compacts them all in.
Exactly.
And it affects the team. I think we'd be better off. I mean, Cazorla's 31 now, I think.
I mean, even in the game against Newcastle, Ramsey did play in a central role, but centre attacking mid, and you've got Cazorla playing deep. That didn't really make sense to me. Wouldn't you like to change the two around?
I mean, in an ideal world, I would have just. The way I'd view things, Cazorla's 31 or 32.
Coming up to 31, I think.
Coming up to 31, so I'd be looking at perhaps I think this is his final year. And I would play more defensive, Coquelin, and perhaps one more holding. I mean, the example you can give back when we were playing here, Vieira and Gilberto. Gilberto was the one who sat, Vieira was box to box. I think Coquelin could be the one who sits. Someone like Vidal would have been ideal, or even Cazorla can do it, but he isn't really.
He's a bit too small.
Physical.
Yeah, exactly. Although against City in the game when he was like running rings around the likes of Fernandinho.
Yeah, he can do it, but as we said, he's coming up to 31.
For me, he hasn't started the season greatly. He's given the ball away a lot, and that's why I want to see Ramsey deployed and get a partnership together with Coquelin. Lots of people say that Coquelin and Ramsey won't work. I get it in the comments of my videos all the time, but the thing is, they haven't. When have they played together, apart from West Ham?
I think the one that does it for me, them two have never played. The one who can't play together is Ozil, Cazorla and Ramsey, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think in the same team they don't fit.
I think what would be great, what I really want to see, especially as they've been brought up together in like the under-21s, is Wilshere and Coquelin.
Yeah.
Because Wilshere is that player a bit. I'm not going to compare it to Vidal, but the way he moves
More
from
box to box up and
exactly,
down.
and
Yeah,
he's
I
got
agree.
drive, and he takes it around players with so much ease. And on a final note, really, European Cup, Champions League, all that stuff. What are your predictions?
It's the one thing that I would love us to win. It's the only thing missing.
I'd love us to win it more than anything.
Yeah,
Sure.
people say the league, they'd say rather win the league because it's more period of time, but we've never won it. Once we've won it, then perhaps maybe say the league.
Just to say we're champions of Europe.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but unfortunately...
We're not going to win it this season, I don't
don't-
think. I'm not ruling us out,
Not
but
just
crazier
us.
things have happened.
I think Ian Wright touched on it at one point. All the English teams that seem to win it often do it by luck. Man United 1-0 down in stoppage time against Bayern Munich, 1-2-1. Liverpool 3-0 from Milan. The Chelsea one was ridiculous, where the foreign teams seem to be more dominant in how they do it. Barcelona last year done the treble, as did Bayern a couple of years back in Milan. You know, they seem to do the treble and just absolutely go full on at it. I don't want to sound hypocritical with what I said with Man United, because that was pure, in my opinion, luck. Can I see us winning it? No. Every year I have a gut feeling we're going to do well. I think our target should be the quarter-final. I don't want to sound unambitious, because
Just to see improvement. That's what you
yeah,
want to see.
but quarter-final minimum I think should be our target for that. We've got a tough group. I think we'll come second.
Yeah, but that's
Bayern
realistic.
Munich.
That's realistic.
Because we're better than the other two teams, but we're not as good as Bayern. However, I think the Bayern game was a good warm-up for the last 16.
Definitely.
Because
I think it's going to benefit us that we've got a team like that in
yeah,
the group.
we tend to choke on the big occasions, especially at home. So having a perhaps warm-up game against Bayern Munich,
Settle our nerves.
exactly. I mean, if something comes of it in Europe, then I mean we'll be the first ones over here, all right, Milan, sorted. But no, realistically, I don't think we can. But stranger things have happened in football.
Exactly, yeah, I'd love us to go on and win it. But on that note, I think we'll wrap it up there. If you want to follow Danny on Twitter, I'll leave all his contact details in the comments box below. As always, like the video if you've enjoyed it, subscribe to AFC Game by Game, and we'll speak to you soon.